that's good. Anyone else?
I think the star is a very tranquil card.
Yes.
It's calm after the storm, isn't it? The next morning, the thunder has stopped, the lightning has stopped. Okay, it's water everywhere, but it's still again. You know, and I think the star has that sort of quality, and you just think, right, it's okay. You know, the only way is up now, isn't it? You can start rebuilding.
It's a lovely card. It's one of
It
my
can be exciting. Doesn't have to be calm.
Yeah.
What, the star?
The star, yeah, it can
Really?
be like.
It's
ooh,
it's
what's gonna happen
adventure
next
in a
sort of
way.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Really?
It can be calm, but it can be you know.
It can represent inspiration. Well, for me, one way that I've always looked at the star was that it gives one a sense of direction. And so, in contrast to the tower, it's a very chaotic time, and things can be very cloudy. And then often when we experience that, afterwards we look back, and everything retrospectively is more clear, and we have a sense of where we're going from there. So you could look at it that way, perhaps. Yeah.
That's good. It's a lovely card. It's one of my favorites. Although sometimes you need to look at the surrounding cards to actually get a, you know, you really need to get where you're going or where things are going. But it's a very light card. Even in the depiction of most decks, the tower is usually black, I believe, or you know, very cold colours. Whereas the star is warm colours. It's completely light compared to the tower. Now, do you think we can prevent the tower?
No. No.
You can call it, but you can't prevent it.
I think it's there because you haven't done what you could have done. And so now you're being forced to change.
You've gone through death, you've not listened, and the tower comes. It's the ultimate Grim Reaper.
Or unconsciously you built your path. Maybe the tower is just the end of a situation that you were living unconsciously, and then it's upon you now, because in a way you brought it to yourself.
Yeah, it could be life throwing you back on the right path.
Exactly.
Where you should
I'm gonna ask you this in part of this question. I didn't put it down but it just came to me, and it's just a question. You don't have to answer it if you don't know or don't want to. Do you, if we cannot prevent it, do you think the tower could be one of the cards that represents death, physical death in tarot?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. Something like a car crash. I would see those in the tower.
Exactly.
Sudden, violent, quick.
Natural
Like-
disaster
Yeah.
as
Like
well.
like death can be like a disease, while tower is like an accident, probably.
Something violent or sudden. Yeah. Now, I just was curious. This was just my own curiosity. But going back to the question, if you cannot prevent it, if it comes up in one of your readings, what would you do? If you think you...
The fact that you're
Especially
mentally
if you
prepared
don't
for
know.
it, I think that's the important part. I think even much of tarot, it's less about changing what would happen and just knowing kind of what might happen, and then you emotionally or mentally prepared for it, and when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, done, that's it. It's less of a shock to you.
For me, my last really big tower moment, after it happened, even in the middle of the oh crap, my life is falling apart time, I was still like, oh thank God that's over. Because I've been building up to it and thinking, when is this tower going to hit? When is this tower going to hit? And it hit, and it was like, okay, let's deal with this now. And it was almost a relief just to know, right, deal with it.
Hello. No, don't worry. Grab a chair.
I think one funny picture on the how the tower's unpreventable is that the tower can't move. If the lightning is going to strike it, it's going to strike it. You can't dodge the bullet, basically.
What is the tower in the top? Is it...
It's just a
same?
tower.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
just
tower.
a tower.
Hectic, really, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
reds and oranges and flames and eyes and mouths and and tongues.
That one is quite good. I've got this deck now.
Wild,
Black again.
wild and
Blood. Is it fire or blood of fire?
fire. It's a tree. Or tree.
Going into tarot readings, do you think there are any particular combinations in a tarot reading that you could have the tower coming out and you'd say, well, this particular combination is good for the querent, for the person you're doing the reading, or that particular combination is quite bad? Do you think there are certain combinations that change, if not change completely, but give the tower a different meaning?
Yeah, definitely. Like say if the tower and it's like something like temperance, then it's something that kind of should happen, or the world card. But if something like tower and the Eight of Cups, you know,
Or the
then
devil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
well, that the devil is up to question. I like the devil card. Some people don't, but that depends on the deck you use. So
3 years ago, I got this card when I was asking questions about when I'm going to start work on my house.
I
Those
remember
of you
that.
that know me, and this card came up, and actually it was just like, thank God for that. My house was in a really bad way. 3 years later, we've only just finished it, but it was just like, the whole place was ripped apart, more or less, and started again. And I got that card, and actually, for me, that was a good card, because it meant, thank God we're actually going to finally start work, ripping this place down and building it up again. And within remember who did the reading? It was Tibor, I think. And within about 3 months, we'd started the first stage of the
I
work.
think was it me that did that reading?
Might have been you as well, I can't remember. It was...
I haven't seen Tibor in a while.
Yeah.
No, it's
I know he
underground.
read to me once on that subject. It may have been him, it may have been you, Anne.
And you had it another time when you were doing the Australian trip. And I remember that was me that did
Yes.
the reading when
Yeah.
you were having troubles with that. And it worked out okay in the end, but you didn't have that as part of the business trip. Because we were like, oh, it's a business trip, this is the tower. But in the end, it worked out
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it was
So
fun.
that's why I'm asking this question.
That's-
Do you think that it can actually be mellower?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can
because
be.
before I moved, we had like 2 months. We had to sell everything we owned, and our house, and our cars, and just get rid of everything.
But it was positive.
But it was a positive
Yeah.
change, and I mean, it's like basically clothes, and that's it, and that's what we brought with us. You know, it's just getting rid of everything, changing your entire life.
Wow.
It's not the change that's supposed to happen, if you think about it. You can start again or get rid of the baggage or everything if you don't just
You got to get
flip
rid of the
everything
old.
out.
You got to get rid of the old before you can let the new in.
Yeah.
That is quite true.
I
Anyone else?
like what you just said. Getting rid of the old to bring in
Yes,
the new.
I mean, I don't really believe in the decluttering theories too much, like feng shui or however you
Yeah.
pronounce it says.
Feng shui.
Because
Decluttering is
decluttering doesn't put things right. It just makes space for things. However,
But
in
emotionally.
certain situations,
Yeah.
and especially emotionally, getting over something and decluttering and allowing yourself to let go can let space in to
Yeah,
let
well,
the
yeah.
new in.
What you think and what you believe, even.
So on the topic of feng shui, yeah, if you decluttering helps when you want new stuff coming in, like money or new
Yeah.
relationship, whatever. I think, like for example, one of the advice is if you want a relationship to come in, you leave one drawer, empty, as sort of symbolically,
Make space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
making space
Yeah.
for someone else in your life, as an example.
And getting
Yeah.
rid of, your ex's
Yeah.
t-shirt
Toxic people, toxic
Yeah.
friends, toxic exes. You said something really right now. You're thinking. How did you say? I can't remember.
your
but it just-
thoughts.
your
Decluttering
thoughts.
your thoughts. Yeah.
You're thinking your thoughts, and your thoughts manifest to a certain extent. So, if you have the tower coming up in a certain way, even if it's mellower, but you're thinking yourself not out of the situation, and you're not decluttering, you're not getting rid of what's actually stopping you, then the tower probably still will happen, but it will be painful for you more than if you actually allow yourself to let go. And I know we all know it's not kind of easy to let go, especially emotionally, but it does help in the long run. Okay. What do you think is the difference between the tower, beyond the obvious, because we know that death is low and coming slow and the tower is sudden. What do you think are the main difference between the tower card and death?
I think death has got a new beginning on the actual card in the background.
Mm.
This is just hasn't. This doesn't give you any clue that actually
It's a lot less certain.
it is. You're going to come out of this okay. This doesn't say that at all. For this one, you might not come out of it okay. Actually, you might end up worse off. That can happen. Haven't we all had life-changing things where actually it's not a good change?
So-
It was, you ended up worse off.
So is the star kind of like
Yeah.
the advice? Have hope?
If you get it, whereas in death, it's inherent in the card.
Hope
got the
isn't
sun rising in the
certain.
distance.
It's
Yeah.
just hope.
With death, you've got the sun
Death-
rising in the distance.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you have hope, you can.
But again,
Or
it's not
maybe
a
it's not-
guarantee. Whilst death
Yeah.
is like something else will
Yeah.
happen, no
Yeah.
matter what it is. Whilst tower is like, okay, something might, you have a chance, but you never know.
This can go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the star doesn't actually guarantee you anything. It just says that there's a new
It's a
start.
state of mind.
It's a state of mind, it's hope.
You may not get the star after this. You might get something else horrible. I don't know.
You
Before
could get,
God.
you could get the
Three of cups. Three of swords.
Nine of Swords.
Nine of swords. Nine of swords is a natural with that one. You could get the three of swords. And you might say, well, okay, you need the pain to move on to the good, but still sometimes some things that happen you never feel
See, I actually
done
see.
well.
But it's when we resist the change that we need to do. That's what makes it painful.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be painful if you go with the change.
Yeah, I would say that the tower's good if you have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is sort of, you're not letting go of what you should be. Whilst if the tower is like therapeutic, okay, done, just in that context.
It
the
depends,
tower's not
obviously
good.
it depends on the context of the reading
Yeah.
is, what
Yeah.
the question is, what the situation of the person is. It could come up in a reading where the person is in a perfectly happy moment in their lives, and then all of a sudden they get this tower. And I'll make you an example that I was reading on Facebook the other day, that someone was talking about. We were talking about relationship readings and this how certain cards affects relationship, and this and how the cards lie or not. And we said no, the cards don't lie. If they say something, that's what it is, because they're quite blunt. This person got into a relationship, got happily married, 15 years with this person, and the cards that she used to draw, the tower came out a lot, and some that said that basically this husband was bringing panic, chaos, and pain in her life. And she's like, got 2 kids, we've been married like 10 years now or something, and that's absolutely fine, put the cards away. And then a whole world fell apart within a year of that, where she didn't, obviously it was private matter, but it just completely gone. 1 minute there, next minute gone. So her point was that when you don't want to see it for what it is, the tower is still going to happen.
Yes.
And it always has that negative for me. It's not a happy card, even if
But you can cut your losses if you have time to prepare for the tower.
but the whole idea is you don't.
I mean,
you don't
yeah.
see it coming.
But
Yeah,
if you,
but I think
if
we-
you
we
see
should
it in
not-
a reading and acknowledge it
Uh-huh.
immediately, so you prepare yourself at least emotionally as much as you can.
But you
To,
got to take responsibility too, because if it's, well, say it comes up in a relationship issue, sometimes we do things out of habit. We think negatively, and we can't let go of certain thoughts, and that will break up a relationship because we're
Yes.
not being fair. We're not trying to support or make that relationship grow and
You're thinking your thoughts.
yeah, and you're just stuck in this one negative, I don't know, bubble. And the tower's going to come up because,
You're closed
yeah.
off from your partner. And
Sorry?
And you're closed off from your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not.
So it's like if you see it, well, what is it that I need to change? Is there something that I can...
Could you change? Is this
Throw him out of the window.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, so
what if you're always nagging them about something? Or what if it,
Andrea?
Andrea.
Hello. Grab a chair.
I don't know. I don't
You
think it
can
has
see-
to be a negative.
It can be a negative, but it doesn't. I think The trick is that we usually assume it's a breakup.
Yeah.
Like whenever a tower comes
Oh,
up,
yeah.
we
An
assume it's the
argument.
worst case scenario.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I can see it kind of